champion. So it feels like GALA got away with something nice here. But again, we also talk about this, and both the Gragas too, being a flex that RNG can play with.
And go into 2 lanes here. I don't think they've played it in the jungle just yet, but definitely for Ming, it's big champion as well. And now we're looking at Rogue Warriors actually coming up with a more mid lane focused draft, I believe. We have seen some interesting champs for Forge. He was really well known for champions like Aurelia and Sylas, basically melee bruisers in the mid lane. And now that Sylas has actually been buffed a little bit with his mana cost, I do think that we might be seeing a return here. He does want to find something a little bit AP. And I think if Rogue Warriors want to diversify their play patterns, a great way would be for Forge to go back on his melee champions and to be able to actually split push in the later phases.
And Forge get himself into something comfortable. The Shen here would be interesting because that would just be the full submarine onto either Haro or Betty. They've already got a support, so it is a solo laner, and it feels like Rogue Warriors are trying to build up a front line that can play disruption with QiuQiu.
Yeah, I definitely think Rogue Warriors wanted the mid lane counter pick. That's why they're hiding it so long.
Yeah.
They don't really play for Ziv. Ziv is basically the punching bag. We've said that many times before. And also Graves is a champion that wants to get full potential by taking away the enemy jungle. So you really want to play mid jungle double priority when you are getting this champion. Graves, again, sort of a lethality build. He doesn't fare very well when he's behind. He has very short range in the late game team fights. So you want to keep him ahead the entire way.
Well, Azir's going to be picked up in the meanwhile, though, Clement. And you know what would go really nicely against this? You know, a Corki pick for Rogue Warriors.
Oh, no. You know? I don't think so, because Corki actually doesn't get priority against Azir. The way Corki plays is that he has different ways to end the game. He has split pushing and he has roam potential with the package. He goes into the Azir matchup by hitting on areas that Azir doesn't accelerate at. But in terms of the laning phase itself, pre-6, he doesn't actually have priority. So I don't think you're going to see that.
Well, at the very least, I don't want to see that. I think I was just fishing for you to give me an answer as to why not. But you get a Syndra, so you get a control mage, different fashion, but at the very least, maybe kind of a similar feeling. But the Forge puts a bit of priority on him. And how do we work with Rogue Warriors here, Clement? Because it doesn't feel like they purely outscale with going up against a Camille, and Azir, a Tristana. It does feel like Rogue Warriors, need to elevate off of Forge, off of Haro.
This is a team that really is banking on their early game to get through. Mid-jungle priority is the name of the game for them. They have double counter picks, right? Not really counter picks, but very strong picks with strong clear. And I think if they can link up with the bottom lane, they will be able to find favorable 3v3 skirmishes on the bottom side of the map. It's basically what Rogue Warriors has always done. Try to get chaos going on the bottom side of the map while Ziv absorbs all the pressure on the top side. For RNG, I think this is a very, critical, classical triple carry type of composition. If it goes late, I think they hold all the cards. They outrange the enemy team composition. They have the better team fight selection picks. They also have the split pushing edge. So there's so many different ways that RNG can close out on the later phases of the game. And I think this is a draft that really favors a team that mechanically and in terms of teamwork is ahead of the other team. As long as they don't do anything super aggressive, as long as they don't lose a major skirmish in the early game, they should be able to coast in the late game.
I like that you pull up the range. Also like seeing Xiaohu back on the Camille. The potential for a side lane threat like this Camille too to draw the attention. I'm expecting a Divine Sunderer here, especially going up against Ziv. The ability to shred, the ability to draw that attention I just mentioned. RNG setting themselves up with, what we'll call an easier composition. Let's see if Rogue Warriors can play towards that bot side, Clement. Let's see if they can outmatch, outnumber, outclass RNG in this second game. Now onto the Rift. All right. What do we need to take attention of? For now, absolutely nothing except two beefy boys attacking each other, and QiuQiu has equipped the skin of the Spring Gala and has actually just taken a lot of damage. Ming's just chasing him down. And he hasn't really given up. Gala's joined him as well, and looks like Rogue Warriors are pinging down.
Oh, that was a great find coming in from Ming. Knows he has the better level 1 trades and forces QiuQiu away for deep vision. Take a look at the draft right here, the runes right here, excuse me. We are going to see the Grasp of the Undying coming out on the top side. Definitely favored when you are going for Divine Thunder and going up against this tank build. And also, interesting enough, it's not going to be the Hail of Blades coming in from GALA. It will be Press the Attack So going for a more teamfight focused build, and this is also a build that really helps you chip down on front lines. You get that damage amplification on your entire team on a single target, will help them take down the Scion quite quickly.
And again, remember that 12% amplification topped up with maybe what Xiaohu picks up like the Divine Sunder or Cryin's DPS is going to be so meaningful as well. I think we don't talk about it enough, but, you know, Pressy Attack has a lot of implication on this team, especially when you have DPSing mages like you set up for here. Ming just bopping Kaishuan again. He's kind of just showing him who's boss. You know, if you've seen Die Hard, you know, when Bruce Willis comes in and goes, "Welcome to the party, pal." Like, that's Ming in this second game, man, on this Gragas. So, already trying to establish lane control, and I think RNG have done it. Should be hitting level 2 a little quicker than Rogue Warriors. In fact, the rocket jumps there, the ignite down. They don't even care about 2, Clement. GALA pushes Betty to the limit.
Really good find right there. Already trading away the flash away from Betty, so that means that any follow-up kills coming in from Wei are going to be very successful. And I love the punish from Alistar. You know, Alistar is a champion that has a very weak level 1, only the headbutt, so he can't really do much, doesn't have his combo then, and it's always great to see people punishing that.
Level 2 now achieved. GALA and Ming in a very healthy state. Kaishuan trying to move up to the wave so he gets the passive minion kills and able to heal Betty up every 7th. As he's going to be zoned out here a little bit. The wave building up massively. Wei is on the bottom side of the map, but not really in a position to make this dive happen. Could be super dangerous with an Alistar, so they'll continue pushing up, maintaining that CS differential, and pushing Betty back into his own turret.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much that Rogue Warriors can actually do here. Once again, I think the mid lane trade is the one I'm a little bit more worried about. We already see a CS lead coming out for Cryin, so Cryin doing very well in this lane.
I was saying maybe he doesn't do it. Onto Betty, he gets bopped away. He stops Kaishuan once again. He has the flash, but Ming was not in range, so instead just zoning them off. Clement, this is massive. That's a full minion wave that's going to be blocked. Another one pushing in. Turret plating at the ready, and Betty even coming back in. That's a rocket jump. GALA's gone in by himself. He gets ignited and pushed to half health.
I love this play coming out from RNG. There's a couple of factors right here. Number one is that they can stop the top lane teleport whenever they want to. Mid lane Forge is super low, 0 mana. He's not going to be teleporting. And their top lane ward also spotted out Haro. This was a reaction play coming out from RNG. It wasn't planned, but it came out of the vision and the lane states from the other parts of the map where it really allowed them to just bully out the bottom side.
They were so worried about Haro, they missed the turret plating, but it might not matter if the engage comes in. They spot out Wei, maybe a little bit too late. Teleport comes in first from RNG, and down flies Cryin for first blood. Haro now in the thick of it, a flash bear slap from Wei to sacrifice his own life. Cryin out of range, he gets flashed on as well. Betty's here, and he hits the S rank immediately. Away for Ming too, the follow-up, Betty for the double. Take that, RNG, I was better all along.
Yeah, RNG had a great find initially on that kill going down. Haro was standing on the ward that entire time, but I think the flash in from Wei was just way too ambitious there. And Rogue Warriors, once again, they get off to a great skirmish with a 2-0-1 start on Betty Samira.
Yeah, that's going to be huge when you talk about it all being the bottom lane, Clement. We'll watch again because RNG looked favorable in the TP play.
Yeah, this was good enough, but watch as Wei actually goes in and tries to find a second kill. He gives the reset over to Betty, and then Cryin plus GALA have to run for the hills right here. Numbers disadvantage on their part. Betty finds a great kill here and gets out as well. So that's just a little bit unfortunate. I'm not sure what Wei was actually doing on that play. I think they overextended a little bit too much and just gave Betty, with all of his rotation, all of his skills up, a perfect rotation.
And now I think he changed the lane dynamic quite a bit. GALA and Ming were proxying the farm and denying that bottom lane. And watching Xiaohu with Ziv, not much to talk about there, but the bottom lane now, Betty has a quiver. And it's only pickaxe for GALA. So I'm very curious as to what actually happens here, Clement. And I think Betty should be feeling pretty comfortable in this lane state when he, by all rights, shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think the main thing about this lane right now is we're going to see a very early Immortal Shield Bow being bought here by Betty. And that just means he can completely ignore the poke. GALA's range advantage, the explosive charges are not going to matter as much. And they also see where Wei is on the map. They could very well waste a lot of time by trying to bait him out.
Wei didn't do his due diligence. He lenses the bottom side brush and thinks that try won't be warded. That's a mistake by the jungler and I guess the bottom lane of RNG. There is a control ward by Ming too. So that hasn't been placed down when they were shoved out to at least the river. And that's going to cost them. Wei wastes time and Haro starts up the dragon. Betty's going to help.
Definitely unnecessary pathing coming out from Wei. He could have taken the lane straight into that brush, but decides to go over the try instead. And Rogue Warriors this time around, it's their turn to play the information and vision game.
But they don't think he's still here, Clement. They think, nah, Wei's probably gone by now. Cryin doesn't pay the respect and GALA picks up a kill.
Oh, that's a bit sad. He had the pink ward for that. Just, I guess sometimes the information game isn't as important as the patience game.
Yeah. That was a patient game indeed. Like, it's amazing how long he stayed there. But you got to say it pays off, right? You know, while Dragon's going down, you think Wei's just going to go reset and pick up farm to try and respond with an advantage. But the fact he waited down there for about a minute and a half makes him the biggest 5-hit of this game so far.
I will say, though, he does lose that 20 CS gap that he created between himself and Haro.
True.
And, you know, that's not a complete loss coming in from Rogue Warriors, but again, I think the kill distribution very unfavorable. We see another kill being handed over to GALA, and I think it does equal out most of the elite that Betty actually had, because Betty was down quite a lot of CS as well.
Yeah, he was. He was down about 15, 20 CS. That kill credit and the bottom side play before really shifted gears, as we were just talking about before Wei made that patience play. 5 CS lead, though, for GALA still in this bottom lane, so there is something. And he got the kill, so he will be in a favorable position when he backs off. Actually got the Berserker Greaves in the latest back, too. And is pushing down the bottom wave. Notice what happened, Clement. We've seen this out of many teams, but Rogue Warriors have shifted so that they can get the Herald. But that means you're leaving GALA and Ming to push away the turret. And Tristana pushes these fast.
Yeah, I really don't like this play. You know, if you take the Herald down and you get a raw charge, then it's 320 gold for just 2 tower platings. But the enemy team is going to get almost the entire tower down, so definitely not worth it. And I think they underestimate the pushing power coming out of this Tristana.
He's got the pickaxe, he's got the Berserker Greaves, he'll do it fast. Ziv's coming down, but this is potential kill as he's going to walk into turret range. The explosive cast sends him near the bear who doesn't have flash, but Ziv will burn his own. Wei still willing to dive this, and GALA not going to get knocked up by the decimating smash. There's bear slap, body slam, kill over to GALA. Ziv walking in, not the patient play, which will be the key word of this game, and GALA Ming can keep on going. While we look at mid, there is no response from Rogue Warriors apart from top.
Usually when you do the 5-man top swap, you're looking to kill their jungle, kill their top laner, and also get the first tower gold. This time around, it's actually RNG being able to equalize out on the turret and actually get the kill onto the bot lane at the same time. So it forces Rogue Warriors into quite a difficult position. If they actually want to find an edge on their side lanes, they actually need to overstay for this second Herald charge. And, you know, they're not actually going to do it.
And so, even though they get the first turret gold, Rogue Warriors eventually will lose out on this bottom side. Now, I like the response being played here by Forge, shifting into the river himself, but GALA and Wei getting ready for this. The turret charge about to come through, and it's getting down pretty low. Once it does go down, though, that gold will be going into GALA's pocket, who now has a bounty thanks to that push that came through. But in response, Betty does have the Immortal Shield, though.
Yep, and this is when they finally swap him back into the bottom side lane. I'm actually quite surprised that Rogue Warriors was able to hold on to their tower right there. The explosive charge does a tremendous amount fully charged against structures, but still not able to rush that one down. So at the end of the day, Rogue Warriors actually come out with a bit of a gold lead. I like this swap back once they have the Immortal Shield Bowl. You know, this is going to create a lot of priority on the bottom side of the map, as they do have that first back. And they can also shrug away most of the damage being dealt by the Tristana at this point, with that potential 27% lifesteal.
Plus, you have Alistar healing in there as well, right? So it feels like Betty's going to be in a pretty good position in this game. Both his summoners are available too, right around this dragon spawning in 45 seconds. Rogue Warriors, however, their plans are changing once again, going towards the mid lane. QiuQiu and Haro angled off towards Cryin, and just to get some river vision down. Clement, before we get to this dragon, I think it's important to note that Rogue Warriors got the first one, but also where RNG versus Rogue Warriors is right now. Gale Force on this jungler. That's the only other mythic apart from the shield bow we talked about. No mythic available for RNG, so it does feel like Rogue Warriors are still in a favorable position.
Rogue Warriors, for right now, I think they have a pretty good control over the bottom side. River Vision is well done, but the team fighting is going to be fairly difficult. I don't think Rogue Warriors really have the best of team fighting compositions.
Okay.
And the person that I don't think has shown up in this team at all right now is the Syndra pick. You know, it was a counter into the mid lane.
Hang on. I think this is a kill because this train's going to be running out. Wade comes in and blocks him. Now he wants to slap him down. He's slowed down. And that was probably not worth it in the end. Ziv just trains at home as explosive cask. Oh, Ming and GALA were not synced up.
Just a little bit wide right there. However, RNG does wrestle back the gold lead. And once again, we're seeing Ziv just getting bullied across the map. Now, what I was talking about was the Syndra pick right here, and this is another champion that, due to the Archangel staff, we have seen going down in priority. Going into the tier is really not something that Syndra wants to do, but it's kind of required just due to the itemization for mages, and we really haven't seen Syndras actually dominate laning phases that much. So this double prio coming out from jungle mid out of Rogue Warriors hasn't really been working out. And I think it is going to affect their positioning coming into the team fights quite heavily, as well as we have double TPs coming in.
Yeah, and that's a flank onto Betty. That's a flash for flash after the body slam slowed down, and Xiaohu decides not to go in. They relied on Ming to start the engage, as Wei was flanking as well. Surprised that RNG just didn't decide to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I wasn't able to actually land the initial body slam, and now it's Rogue Warriors' turn.
Yeah, goodbye. That was Cryin just getting caught from the rotation, and nicely done from Forge with that scout of the week.
Good find on their part. They get the WQ knockup over the wall coming in from Kaishin, and now it's Rogue Warriors' time to shine.
Smash, explosive. And that's it. RNG just lost 2 members in a quick 30-second timer. Mid turret now getting pushed as well. Explosive cast used, separates the minion wave, but it won't do too much. Rogue Warriors can stay here for a little bit. They've got 4.5 members with Alistar off on the side, and RNG will clear it away, but again, getting caught out.
A couple fumbled plays coming out from Ming in a row. Missing the initial explosive cask, missing the body slam again, and just pulling the entire team in a very bad position where they have to go through full vision control on Rogue Warriors. We're going to see that again as Ming tries to go in. Good flash from Betty, you know. That's definitely worth it in that situation to dodge out. And once again, great find coming in from Forge. He starts at the double knock down, and also having Kaishin just follow up with the Alistar headbutt pulverize combo. Well done right there. I love the anticipation of cutting off the path from RNG.
Puts Rogue Warriors in a 600 gold lead here in this game, and they're in a pretty favorable position at this point. Now, after what we talked about with Betty in the bottom lane, this Syndra now catching up as well. Betty about half an EXP lead, I believe, over GALA 2. I have to check on that one because he's down on CS, but that could be incorrect. That was something I noticed about 5 minutes ago or so. Not sure if he's maintained that, so I'll pause on that for now. Let's just do a quick item checkup because Herald's there, and it feels like RNG might be grouping up for this. Xiaohu doesn't have his teleport, nor does Cryin, but Mythics have come online for this team. Good little rocket jump from GALA. First item Mythics pretty much across the board now for both these teams, apart from Forge and Ziv, actually. So RNG do have an overall item advantage, but you can see the strength of these carries you mentioned before, Clement, like Haro, too strong to deal with, so RNG giving up the Herald.
I think what RNG need to do right now is forget about the 5v5 and just split push themselves into more scaling, because right now their front line can't match what Rogue Warrior has. They have Ziv, they have Kaishin, and also Betty still has a bounty on his head. So this is a very, very strong point in the game for Rogue Warriors. If they go into the 5v5, if they go into Drakes, I don't think that RNG can actually defeat them at this point. They still need more time to complete their scaling and actually have that penetration to deal with Sion. So for now, RNG, I like what their idea is. They're splitting 1-3-1. They're making sure that Xiaohu has enough of that farm where he can take away Ziv from the team fights. Peel away the enemy frontliner, make sure he has to stay underneath his tower, and then think about the picks. That's the way RNG is going to have to play the next couple of minutes. However, I will say that Rogue Warriors does have a chance within 5 minutes to actually just get this Dragon Soul. That's going to be I think the turning point in this game. If Rogue Warriors are able to utilize their teamfight strength right now, where Syndra is strong, where Graves is still really strong, where Sion is great and can still match Xiaohu in the side lanes, I think they have a great chance of getting themselves the soul and putting themselves in an unbeatable position.
But if they lose GALA here, it could all go crashing down. Decimating Smash just out of range. He plays it well, but mid turret going down gives more space for Rogue Warriors here towards that next dragon. Puts them in a really unfavorable position. You're right, Clement. It means that RNG, no matter what, if they lose this next dragon, will have to fight for the soul in 5 minutes, no matter what. Xiaohu ignoring the mid push here. He's going to keep going on the top side, but they're losing inner. Rogue Warriors now have a huge mid lane to play with a wave shoving up, and the dragon's up in 5 seconds.
I like this play coming out from RNG. They're not trying to contest the 5v5, but I will say it feels like they lose a little bit too much for it. You know, I would have liked to see Ming probably try and use the explosive cask and try to get a little bit more back from that, or try to dissuade by taking away the minion wave. They're not going to do that. Instead, they are just going to try and full trade onto the top side from Xiaohu. So that's, I believe, a turret traded back, and they keep very, very close the gold lead coming out from Rogue Warriors. So only 600 gold there. Now they have 5 minutes to scale up, and they have to show for those 5 minutes when the next raid comes up.
So let's talk about items that could actually lean the fight for RNG, because we've got a Nash's Tooth almost there. I believe the second item for GALA is either delayed, or we will be going towards that Mortal Reminder. Second item for the Tiamat inclusive. No, actually, looks like we're going towards the Ravenous Hydra second item, as I believe, Clement, if I'm not being too silly at this point.
Yeah, Ravenous Hydra second item is a standard for Camille's in the top lane. Do get a lot of wave clearing, and also helps when you dive back into the bot side. Finally, we might see the pick being utilized.
Okay, well, the flash is burnt by Wei. Now he's on the wrong side of the rift. Wei has to get the heck out of here. No. Next blast cone, please. Okay. Now we're back in the base. Which way? Just run around. Go to the left. Betty's dead, though. Oh, no. That's not good. Now, how does Wei make his grand escape? No, don't touch the minions. Okay. Run around. No, stop it. Stop it. Go to the left. Go to the left way. Yep. Okay, Haro's there. Never mind. What are RNG doing in the meantime? This bear playing around. He's going to die. I feel like Wei could have probably just kept running, but gets rid of it anyway, and Haro picks up yet another kill, so that's traded for Betty's life.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, the pathing he chose. I definitely felt like he could have went towards the top side, because the rest of the team was actually sieging down mid. But we are going to see how Betty dies here. Oh, actually just tries to back on a ward. Oops.
Okay. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean anything? Because Wade died in the end. Nothing can be traded off. No objectives are up, so I feel like trade's not really there.
For now, it's all about stopping the game for RNG. They don't want any more gold to go on Rogue Warriors. If they can keep the gold lead as it is, only 500 and 600 for the next Drake fight, that would be ideal for them. They just don't want the enemy team to actually be able to hit their second item spikes before they go into that Drake. So I think running them around the map is great. Making sure they don't farm is great. And in kind of a weird way, that's actually, exactly what they're looking for. Just trying to slow the game down and making sure the enemy team can't extend their gold lead before this pivotal Drake Soul fight.
True. It does feel like we've got a point where, the game is now slow, and we're just going to farm up as per request for the next 2 minutes anyway. I like that Wei is grouping up with Ming a little bit, and they're trying to clear some vision, but also look for picks. Maybe hovering around Cryin's Azir. For now, though, we'll keep it pretty stable and wait for that next dragon. If Rogue Warriors get that, Clement, it does feel like, with what we've already talked about, that RW are going to have an easy time if that Infernal Soul's in their back pocket.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot more burst damage on Forge just to take off the targets like Azir and GALA. I also do want to talk a little bit about the Mortal Reminder right here. A very strong patch. 11.3 was great for Mortal Reminder. You get 10% extra armor penetration. It really helps out with the front line. And now, if you compare that...
Let me clarify quickly. Of course, I got the name wrong. Lord Dominic's regard.
Oh, yeah, Lord Dominic's. My bad.
No. That's Jake's fault. Don't worry, bro. Keep going.
Lord Dominic's. And if you think about this item, we've never really seen this strong of an iteration of an armor penetration item. It gives you 15% extra damage based on HP difference, and it also has crit inbuilt to it. So you can go this armor penetration item and still finish your Infinity Edge without losing out on the 60% crit bonus. A very strong pickup, and I think in most scenarios it's actually favored over the Collector. The armor penetration on the Collector, if you get full lethality, is only 12. And you know how much armor you need on the target for that to be equalized out with the armor penetration on Lord Dominic's? Only 34 armor is necessary. So it's very easy to just win out on value with this item.
Yeah, and remember, the only thing in this item that's not in this item is attack speed. And GALA doesn't need it because of Q, so it makes a lot of sense that this is a second item. Really strong second item as well against the frontline like Ziv, like QiuQiu too. So we'll see how it goes here for RNG with 20 seconds left until the dragon spawns. They clear out the mid wave. They ascertain vision control. RNG first in the river.
Most important person, I think, is going to be Ming. Can he actually find the backline here and at least try to get Haro or Betty into an unfavorable position? If it's front to back, I definitely do favor Rogue Warrior's composition as they go into the Dragon River.
As this is the ult started by Ziv. He's getting into the back line. Sent bopping with the explosive cast. The dragon secured by Wei. That's good, but can RNG get away? They're now in the middle of the pit. QiuQiu starts the engage. He's bopped back, body slammed. GALA poking down. This Tristana feels good. The Scout of the Week may have saved it, but Xiaohu ready to go on in. Hits Ziv once more. The front to back there, Clement, but Ziv way too low. RNG say it's okay. We got the dragon. We don't have to go too far forward, and they'll walk away the victors.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors, unfortunately, were kind of caught with their pants down. That was their best chance at winning this game. They don't have a composition that scales as well as RNG's composition, but I feel like they gave over way too much vision in that river, and their angle of approach was, they were a little bit too cautious. They were angling to go in through the mid lane, and that just wasted them so much time trying to get everything together. Ming doesn't have to use his explosive cast for engage. He actually just uses for disengage to stall out the enemy targets right here. And it was just a super fast take away. You know, getting both carries out of the picture makes sure that Haro cannot smite this.
Wei needed to get the smite down, otherwise Ziv probably would have found it with Decimating Smash. So an easy take in the end, and GALA's damage is actually massive with the Lord Dominic's regard we talked about. We were just mentioning this, and already you could see it onto QiuQiu, onto Ziv as well as he chipped away, and feels pretty nice at this point in the game. But Clement, Baron is up there, still waiting. Rogue Warriors were kind of baiting, but I'm not sure how quick their Baron is. His explosive cast onto QiuQiu. I think they were aiming for Haro, and he was too far forward.
Definitely trying to get him over towards GALA, who already has a red buff. That would have been a very easy chase down.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't really find that one there. And I don't know, man. I feel like Rogue Warriors, they definitely should have tried to take that opportunity a little bit more. Giving RNG 5 more minutes to scale on Azir and Tristana is a bit of a feels bad.
Yeah, and things get more and more dangerous when you get GALA onto that third item, right? The Infinity Edge we expect. Wei secures his own blue, so that's a nice touch. And GALA's pretty close. He's absorbing so much farm. He's at 253 CS at 24 minutes. Note that Xiaohu's also at 260 CS. He's wreaking havoc in the side lane, and Rogue Warrior's like, man, we got to stop this. We got to draw in the TP. Baron is started, but Xiaohu not drawing on the bait.
Yeah, I think this was a chance for Rogue Warriors to hope and catch someone out in the river. But as you can see right here, there's actually a ward in that cubby right around the left side of mid lane.
Yeah.
So that spots out all Rogue Warriors members as they try to set up the death rush. I don't necessarily dislike the idea of baiting for Baron. Once again, you do have a better front to back, and it will cause Xiaohu to have to ponder if he wants to use his teleport or not. But they definitely didn't get full value because the vision wasn't cleared properly.
Let's be real, Xiaohu in a very good position. I'm just looking at him now. He's picked up the blue buff that was just left standing. I'm mentioning that because I think Xiaohu is just going to be that silent killer that's been farming away in the side lane. He's going to be joining these fights. He's going to be a real threat to someone like Betty or even Haro. So I'm waiting for that TP and I'm waiting for that fight. I'm waiting for the next minute 45, it seems like, Clement, because there's another dragon spawning. And RNG have had the time to pick up the third item for Xiaohu. He's got a Sterix Gauge now and a hell of a lot of healing. Also waiting for GALA to back, because that next back could just as well be the Infinity Edge to cap out the 3-item Tristana.
So what I want to see out of Rogue Warriors is for them to actually be willing to give up on side lane priority. I think it's totally worth to give up on a side lane tower if you can get priority or maintain this Infernal Soul. That's how important this item actually is, and I really would prefer them to play that way. And if they're not going to be willing to, you know, force themselves into that Drake pit, maybe get there first.
Maybe it doesn't matter, Clement, because Baron's being started. Xiaohu's still in the bottom side of the map. He's not teleporting yet. He's walking in. Baron this time being committed to. RNG group up as 4 for now. Xiaohu sitting in the side lane. Now he teleports in. The explosive cast onto Forge. Wait, flash with the bear slap, but he needs to get in the back of the pit. He can't steal it because he used it on Forge. Baron secure, but now Rogue Warriors are going to get cut off from the pit. 4 members and one of them dangerously low. Kai Xuan still has to make the engage to disperse. Rogue Warriors sent on the wrong side. Wei's running at them, Cryin over the wall, immediately bursts down. Xiaohu, he is the silent killer. Baron won't mean anything unless Betty can get that ultimate to continue. That was a close call, but too many members of RNG have gotten to the point of scaling. 27 minutes in, the Baron taken, but you lost it all for the full-blown ace.
Really, I don't think that was the correct play coming in from Rogue Warriors. RNG, they definitely had their teleports. Everyone was around the pit. It was very easy to close in onto that fight. And the reason why I feel like the Infernal take was actually just better is because if you get Infernal Soul, your chances of winning the ensuing team fight are much higher.
It's a shame, because I feel like, you know, you get the Baron, Wei even flashes after the Sindri, like, we got it, but we lose everything. And at the end of the day, Clement, now I really fear for Rogue Warriors. You look at the damage done in the last team fight. Cryin and Xiaohu are there. Level 17 on the Camille, dude. He is 3 levels ahead, now 2, of his mid laner, who's had a lot of freedom in this game. And we'll look again how Rogue Warriors put all their cards in the hard Baron basket.
It was pretty smart to have Ziv here on the spot before anything happened, but RNG also played this super cleanly. They knew if they had a numbers advantage, they could basically chase Rogue Warriors onto their side of the map and finish everyone off. Betty had a really good team fight right here. The rest of the team felt solo. It felt like it was absolutely hopeless, but he still somehow manages to pick up 2 kills. Sadly, it's not enough. I think Rogue Warriors sort of overextended on this play. I definitely would have preferred going for the Dragon instead and forcing that out. Coming in from RNG and having a chance to win the ensuing team fight with the Infernal Soul, but they go for the Baron play, and you know, it's just going to give RNG more time to scale at this point. The Baron's off the map, but RNG have a very comfortable other 5 minutes to scale up, and right now this Camille is already approaching the territory where she's unstoppable.
She's massive, Clement. I mean, I mentioned the level advantage before, but 330 CS at 29 minutes in the game. And we saw in the last fight, like, Xiaohu was acting like a frontline. That's what you can do with a Camille who has Ravenous, Steric's Gauge, and, you know, now a Guardian Angel as the 4th item. Xiaohu won't die, and there's just so much healing in the kit, so it feels really bad to even side lane against him to match him. What do you want to see from Rogue Warriors here? Because we've got a lot of time before the next Dragon comes up, before their 3rd chance at Infernal Soul is there. But it already feels like RNG are going to control the map from here on out.
It definitely feels like agony for Rogue Warriors. They had a lot of opportunities to try and get this soul, but you know, again, they just had other plans on their minds, and they didn't really utilize all the chances that they got. So now going into 3 item spikes, I definitely favor RNG's composition. Azir is going to do a lot more damage. You have a much more crit focused build coming out from GALA that is going to spike right here. And also, who's going to take care of Camille? Camille can just go into your backline. He can like solely focus on Betty, and you're never going to be able to actually kill him without sacrificing the entire team.
I mean, Xiaohu just took no damage from Forge, and he doesn't really have MR, so feels pretty good. He's actually on 52 magic resist right now. It feels nice to be the Camille in this lane. Level 18 versus 16 on Ziv. Even though it's not a Divine Sunderer, still Xiaohu being that far ahead in items is going to be so easy. Our chat can't see it, but he's 4,000 gold ahead of this tank. And Ziv going to be in a bit of trouble. Now, let's focus on where RNG go from here, because they don't have a Baron, but they've got the advantage in pretty much every lane now. Wei is shattering around this mid lane. It's kind of like a 1-3-1 with Azir in the top lane because Cryin almost has the TP available.
I think you just focus down on the Syndra. Syndra's probably the easiest one to catch here. She almost has her flash up, but not just yet.
Yeah.
So if you can take her down, I feel like it's pretty easy to just snowball the fight. She doesn't really have the mobility abilities either. So whenever you see Forge in the mid lane, that's where I think RNG can actually just full on engage. They don't have to worry about the front to back at this point, especially with the Lord Dominic's regard and true damage coming out from Camille. They can definitely just kill Ziv where he stands.
He's half health just from dealing with Xiaohu. I should correct myself, of course, not a 1-3-1, just Cryin pushing out the wave up in the top side. Groups up once again, and he'll probably do the same to add that pressure. But does Wei steal it? He did. He just ran in and stole the red buff. Oh, that's frustrating if you're Haro. Haro was 4-0 before, and now he takes his first death. He loses his bounty. Doesn't really matter that this Graves has 3 items when, you know, Mr. Clement Chu here already told you about RNG's advantage at 3 items. Wave gets pushed again, and they're just waiting for the Baron, for the Dragon. They're both kind of spawning around the same time, so I feel like RNG will make sure that Rogue Warriors cannot get the Soul, put themselves on Soul Point, or find a pick just before timing.
Difference here is still 17 seconds, so it's still staggered objectives. You can definitely take the Baron and still make an impact on the Infernal Drake if you so choose to.
Okay.
Now, I think for RNG, I actually don't like grouping around the Baron. I think, like, if Rogue Warriors are going to... Oh, never mind.
Oh, no, GALA. Sorry, rather, Betty's just hit on up. An ex-RNG 80 carry dropping down. Now with the numbers advantage, Haro trying to disperse. The Graves gets out thanks to collateral damage, but on the rest of the fights, Rogue Warriors are just getting beaten to a pulp. The chick from the Kingsman movie is destroying RW. Xiaohu piloting, Camille flashes over the wall. Maybe it was ambitious, maybe it wasn't. Doesn't die anyway. Forge gonna get knocked into smithereens, and Wei delivers the killing blow. RNG will take it all and then drive this to the heart of RW's base.
Well, my only question left is, you know, if Camille is the chick from Kingsman, who's Samuel L. Jackson on this team?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's Ming. I don't know what acting does to you, brother, but sometimes you get comfortable. Either way, Clement, I think in this game, this was just RNG getting too much time to themselves. Rogue Warriors are going to be feeling this one as Betty runs on in, but doesn't matter. Gala's hitting the Nexus. Another 2-0 to finish the night.
Great play coming out from RNG.